Hello, everybody. Welcome back to NFTV. It is the influencer. Familiar face to my left, which is Carl. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Well, to my left on your screen, but to my right, if that makes sense. And also a kind of familiar face because we've got Eisha back on the channel. How are you?
Hey, I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm very, very good. Thank you very much for taking part in this. You've seen what we do, to a little bit about Newcastle, bit of fun in between, and we'll talk about your own career aspirations as well. We're going to start with it as well. We're going to start with Newcastle, Eisha, because it is you're sporting an absolutely beautiful top, which I've just spoke to you off camera. I'm very envy of, but it's not so much. None of us are envy about the football that we're playing at the moment. What's your take? Where we are, you're worried?
Yeah, I am actually really, really worried. And it's funny because I think you titled this video, "It's all negative," or "There's nothing positive to talk about," right? And that is the case. The thing is, I feel like over Christmas, I think I just drastically changed my perspective. And I feel maybe I was a little bit naive. And you know, when like over Christmas, for example, and I feel like we've not really had a positive theme throughout the season, even from the start. We've lacked consistency, you know, the heavy criticism, the tactical criticisms, they've been pretty constant from, the first day of the season, apart from probably the opening game. And that has continued. But I think over Christmas, I underestimated actually how quickly things can take a turn. And I feel like up until Callum Wilson was injured, like I said, I think I was just naive to it all. And now I've reached a point, March, 10, 11 games left, and we've plummeted down the table. I'm counting points on, Brighton. I'm like, oh God, Brighton are actually playing better football than us, although they can't score goals. We can't score goals. We don't have options for our front three. And to think now we're in this position, I'm still in disbelief, and honestly I'm really struggling to just see how things will turn around. And that is quite unlike me. Perhaps I'm always naive, and perhaps I'm always thinking, you know what, the performances might not be up to par, but somehow we will scrape points here and there. I've reached that point where the performances are diabolical, the points nowhere to be seen. What is it, like 2 wins in 18 games or something ridiculous?
Yeah.
And it's the performances and the stats. And now we're at this I guess it's like the crucial period, and it really is a crucial period. Like the West Brom game really was a must win. Now, like with Villa, like come on, even if Jack Grealish isn't back, you think we can win it? There's no chance. We couldn't even, like, West Brom have conceded the most amount of goals in the whole league. We couldn't even score. So sorry, I have digressed, but I mean, that's just what I'm feeling. And it's not positive in the slightest. I don't get influenced by bookies, but today I was, updating the bookies' odds on who will be relegated. And I was like, yeah, I mean, you know what? This is the reality of it. And the sooner we, I guess, admit the fact that there is going to be a relegation scrap, the better, because the way Fulham are playing, to improve their form as well as they have done, they had the reality check that we should have had. At some point, we should have had that reality check, like, wow, we're in danger, let's change things up. Scott Parker somehow has improved the form because he reached the point where it was like, you know what, you guys are playing for me, you want to win, you want to do better, let's do this. And we haven't reached that point, so we're not going to win, we're not going to score goals, and we're not going to be able to grab points like Fulham have been able to. Like, they beat Liverpool.
Are we staying up, Eisha?
I honestly don't know. Because, like I said, if Brighton were playing poorly, I would be a little more reassured. But the thing is, when I watch Brighton, I think, okay, you know what, you're not scoring goals, but you're certainly playing better football than we are. And that's what worries me. It is Brighton, to be honest. I mean, Sheffield United gone, West Brom gone. I mean, Fulham, they're playing a lot better. They're actually grabbing points. I don't know. You know what? When it gets to that Brighton game, I'm going to be so nervous. I don't know how I'm going to watch it, because that Brighton game, Yeah, Villa and then Brighton, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that Brighton game. I mean, if we can't win that, I honestly, I don't know. Like, I think that's it.
Are you Bruce in or Bruce out? I know what me and Carl stand on that, and most of the lads on the channel. Is it a case of whatever you do, it's too late in the day?
I don't know if it's too late, you know, because when Rafa came on board, okay, I think he didn't have many games with us, and I just think to boost the morale with appointing a new manager was enough for the players to just stay in tune with goals and some sort of direction, which we're severely lacking now with Steve Bruce. But saying that, even if we were able to get someone on board now, it wouldn't happen. I just don't see how Mike Ashley would be in a position to be like, you know what? Yes, this is the main priority, because at the minute, the way he's wrapped up in, you know, the legal proceedings and the takeover stuff, I don't think that's top of his list. And I mean, I'm no financial consultant here, but if he has a financial consultant who is advising him on the value of a club and how much money you can lose in a pandemic, being relegated, he would know that it's, you know, it should be his utmost importance to appoint a manager who can potentially save us. You know, West Brom, like Big Sam, he came on board, I guess, at the right time. Essentially, it's sort of too late for them. But that was an effort, and that was, I mean, they were fairly rejuvenated with him, you know, and I don't think it's ever too late to get someone on board and at least try. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't think it's going to happen, because Mike Ashley has many other things going on, you know, with like, you know, all the takeover stuff. It won't happen, but I don't think it's too late. I think it should happen. I think he should be replaced immediately.
Yeah, Carl's looking after your comments, so please keep them coming in with your say-so on Newcastle United. Carl, I'll get your thoughts. Is it too late? Because we're seeing Shearer come in with 8 games. That wasn't enough. Rafa came in with 10 games. That wasn't enough. Although, if the league started when Rafa came in, would have finished 9th. But we all want Steve Bruce out. I think we're all unanimous on that. It's the football's diabolical. The results are matching it. The performances have got better recently. West Brom, no, but it stinks of McLaren, doesn't it, Carl?
Yeah, massively. I personally think it is too late, by at least a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, I know, like everyone, like you said there, and everyone knows we want him out, and we do whatever we can to get him out. But I just think, you know, it's not going to save us if we are going to get relegated. Changing the manager right now isn't going to make a difference, I don't think. You know, like you said, Rafa's come in, that gives the club a massive lift, but it still wasn't enough, unfortunately, because, you know, you can't just turn it around in the space of 10 weeks. But I am going to say this: I am confident about the Villa game, and the only reason for that is because we've been through this, and they haven't beat us at St James for a very, very long time. A very long time. That's the only saving grace that I've got right now. So I am confident about Friday. I'm not going to lie, but I agree with Eisha.
Carl, you do know where you live, don't you?
Yes.
I was just going to say, you should be fearing for your safety right now. Aren't you living in the
I'll do that anyway.
The last watch along, Eisha. The Villa fans were coming in after him, and he was hiding.
Oh, no.
And then he was biting, and then he just couldn't help himself. But yeah, and the Villa one, obviously, even me and Eisha have got memories when the Sky Sports camera panned on were Face of Thunder, the pair were. And then obviously, I don't have a great relationship with Villa fans, because never does Carl, never does Sam, because his missus is a Villa fan. But off the pitch, Eisha, there's been loads of stories now. You talk about the Matt Ritchie incident, which, to be honest, I think there's more bust-ups that probably don't get reported. But there's also stuff like you mentioned, the takeover on the background with the court ruling, not allowing, I don't know his name, apologies, not allowing the club wanted him off the Premier League panel. And then you had Joe Joyce stepping down. You've got all the press. I think the press are after Bruce as well, but Bruce kind of plays with it, because at the moment, the Daily Mail, there's a mole in camp. And what do you make of the whole situation with the press hounding Bruce? Because they know he's biting. They're giving him what he wants, and all these stories off the pitch.
Yeah, the thing is, with the training ground bust up, you're right. I think there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes that we're not aware of. It never makes it to press or whatever. But that story to it was quite an explosive week, I'd say, leading up to the West Brom game. In terms of the controversial things, like this Matt Ritchie thing was pretty huge, given that we all know Matt Ritchie is opinionated, he's passionate, he's very vocal, and with that comes a lot of leadership, I guess. And for him to stand up and have this altercation, I don't think it's good. But in a sense, if it's going to draw attention to the fact that things aren't working with Steve Bruce and the dynamics just aren't there, then maybe it is a good thing, because if more of these bust-ups came to light, maybe more press or whoever, the pressure will just pile on more, and we'd reach, I don't know, we'd reach that point where it's like, you know what, this isn't working. He needs to be replaced, and the players aren't on board with him. They're not playing for him. So that's what I have to say about that. And in terms of the takeover stuff, I mean, honestly, I've kind of just given up on it. And yeah, I'm sick of it. I'm sick to my stomach. And it's not even like I used to banter about it with friends. I used to say, you know what, oh, the takeover, haha, it will happen. But it's not funny anymore. It's not entertaining. And it's definitely not productive for me to constantly read the updates and get my hopes high and then get really emotionally involved in the updates of the legal proceedings, because even today, apparently the PIF, they've made an offer for Inter Milan, I heard. And yeah. I don't blame them if they're fed up for how long it's taking. I've just sort of stepped back from all the takeover updates. I mean, I am following them, but I'm really trying not to get too emotionally invested in them, and that's probably for the best, because right now it really is comical that we're still speaking about it months on. I know stuff is happening. Will it result in a takeover overnight or a takeover before the end of the season? No, it's just not going to happen. Therefore, I'd rather focus on, wow, we need to stay up this season and, current issues like that. But that's probably just more for my own mental health, because I got a bit too involved and excited with the takeover. I mean, we spent the most of lockdown talking about the takeover, you remember. Yeah. And it was an exhausting process towards the end of it. And then, as it stands now, I mean, you'd have to be really optimistic to think it's going to happen. What do you guys think? I mean, what are your hopes like, or are you expecting the worst?
Well, you'll know this yourself, Eisha, that me, Johnny and Sam found out whilst recording live. So that was a tough take for everybody across the whole Newcastle fan base. And it was a tough summer. But the Premier League, though, Newcastle believe that it's still going on, because they've come out and said in their statement that they're still pushing for arbitration. Obviously, they didn't want the guy who was on the panel, of course, but they firmly believe that they've got a belief that this can happen.
Yeah, it's I'm the same as you. I've been very realistic about it, in the sense of not really buying into much at all. We don't do much on the channel itself about the takeover, because we're all of the ilk that if it happens, it will happen when it happens, and we'll talk about it then, because we've all been burnt by it so many times. But it is interesting to see that Mike Ashley's going all guns blazing at this. So he must have something in it. But again, I'm very much the same as Eisha. I've taken, and yourself, Lee. It's just one of those that I don't really pay attention to anymore. I'll believe it when they're walking down the steps, mate, with the keys and Alan Shearer at their side and all of that. So as soon as that happens, then I'm in.
I thought you were going to say walking down the aisle or something there. I was wondering what.
Well,
let's get off Newcastle. Carl's going to take over a little bit, and Isha's going to have some tune questions fired towards her. So first one, Carl, whenever you're ready, mate.
Yeah, first ever tune memory, Eisha?
I guess it would have to be my first game. So I've spoken about this before on the channel, but I mean, your first game is always going to be the most memorable. And it was against Man City, and we actually beat them 3-1. So it was I was very, very young. And Les Ferdinand scored a couple. And as I've spoken about before, I have soft spots for certain players from the entertainers era, Les Ferdinand being one of them. And it was that game, I mean, September, I guess it was. So September 95. I mean, September 1995 to be a Newcastle fan is just ridiculous. I mean, like, what a time. And
Definitely.
yeah, I came up with my dad and uncle and I watched the game. So I'd say that was my first Toon memory.
I still remember those goals because Ginola on the right-hand side crossed for Ferdinand to head home as well, which when I was looking back throughout the years, obviously that was my first full season. As you know, Eisha, we're very similar in terms of when our first season was, and 3-1 Ferdinand got a double. It was a fantastic, you're all right, end of September. Stadium had just been built, 36,000. Yeah, great memory.
Yeah, incredible times.
Yeah, you said that was your first game as well, wasn't it?
It was. I was 5 years old. I don't really care about giving away my age, but yeah, I was 5 years old. I was born in 1990.
How about changing that question? And what's your best Newcastle game that you've attended?
Well, it would have to be that one, I guess, because that was my first game, right? But then to be fair, like recent games that we've attended, like I think the first game that we all attended together, they're really memorable, like the West Ham game, right?
Yeah.
That was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it, and it was positive. We were feeling sort of optimistic. I guess that must have been October. So, you know, to feel positive and optimistic in October, it's a nice feeling because, you know, you're a few games into the season and it's all exciting, and to win against West Ham is always good. So yeah, that's probably a more recent one. But yeah, in terms of old games, yeah, I mean, my first one would always be way up there. Exciting time to start supporting the club, and exciting games to watch when we were actually entertained and we played football, which just had everyone off their seats and had everyone around the world talking about us, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah, away games are very dangerous because I even said Eisha goes watch when a goal goes in, and literally there's about four bodies next to that, and we were 3-0 up at West Ham. We're like, what is going on here? Eisha, come more often, please.
Yeah, when I looked to my right, there was just a pile of bodies and they kept piling up. I was like, God, that was a near miss. I could be underneath that. But yeah, crazy scenes in the away stand, wasn't it?
Brilliant.
Favourite Newcastle player of all time?
Oh, this is a tough one. Like I said, I have a soft spot for most of the players in the entertainers era. Like, to name, I guess I'll shortlist a few. So obviously there's Les Ferdinand and David Ginola. I mean, I've spoken about him a lot. He was definitely my first love by far. Obviously, Alan Shearer. And then, you know, there's Rob Lee, and you can't forget all those kind of players. And Shaka Hislop as well, because I always wore the goalkeeper shirts as well, because I was always, when I played football when I was younger, they always put me in goal because I was always tall. And I remember wearing these kind of jerseys here in, do you know where Boreham Wood is?
Yeah. I stay there.
So that's where I used to play football. And I remember wearing the jerseys. I was like, yeah, I was so proud and so excited to be wearing these, and just, I don't know. I mean, I think to be in London, or to at least be down south and to be rocking the jerseys, is always going to be quite unique. But as a kid during that era, to be wearing those shirts, I couldn't have been prouder. So Shaka Hislop is way up there, just because I always had to have the jerseys he had. But if I was focusing on one player, you know, gun to my head, I want to say Alan Shearer, of course, but I do want to, I mean, that's a given for any Newcastle fan. So I guess if it's between like Les Ferdinand and David Ginola, it'd probably be Les Ferdinand. And you know why? Because even now, when he speaks about his premature departure, I guess, you know, he didn't want to leave, it means more, because you think, you know what, you only spent 2 years here, but you wanted to continue and finish your playing career at our club. That's what it meant to you. And I do think he is a Geordie at heart, and it really meant a lot to him. And it was just really exciting. And obviously the partnership with Alan Shearer, and I really, really, really was a big fan of him. And I still am, just because of the love he has for the club. So I guess I'll go for Les Ferdinand.
Yeah,
that's yours as well, Lee, right? Yeah, you love him, don't you?
Yeah, he was my first love. And Sam surprised us last year and got him on, and I'd nearly started crying. And
I remember.
I'll give everyone a little exclusive in 2 weeks' time. He's back on, so there's a little exclusive. Everybody.
Yay! Oh,
keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
Big event coming up.
Favorite Newcastle player of all time.
Oh, okay. I mean, is this like modern day?
Anyone you like.
Anyone, yeah.
Okay, I think that everyone would say this, but these days, Erling Haaland is so exciting. He's not human. I mean, the way he plays is insane. And I watched this really interesting documentary on, you know, how he came up the ranks. And obviously his dad was a professional footballer and he sort of grew up in that sort of environment. But his journey and he had an insane growth spurt, and the what he's achieved in a really short space of time is incredible. And he's really calm under pressure, and it seems like he thrives under it, and he's there to, again, entertain. He wants to entertain, and he wants to be the bright spark on the pitch, and I just love watching him play. So it's probably going to have to be him. It's a young guy still in the early stages of his career, but he is something special.
Could have played for England.
He was born in Leeds, wasn't he?
Yeah, he could have played for England.
Yeah.
Absolutely mad.
That would be crazy. Yeah.
Who could you see him signing for if he was to sign for a Premier League club?
City?
You think it'll be City?
Yeah, I could see that replacing Aguero.
Yeah, I could see that. That would be insane. Oh my God, imagine. I mean, it's inevitable. He will come to the Premier League at some point. But yeah, I think City would be the only club that can afford him. God, his fee would be extortionate. Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would be.
100%. Him and Mbappe are the next Ronaldo versus Messi, aren't they, in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah.
Even 15 years, because they're both still kids.
So young. God, they're so young. At least with Mbappe, you know, he's won a World Cup and he's got that notch under his belt. And Haaland, I mean, he's
never going to win one of them.
He's certainly not going to win one of them, but he can achieve much more in European football, that's for sure. It's just the start of his journey. Definitely.
What is your worst moment supporting the club?
Worst? I mean, two come to mind immediately. And the first, I mean, I guess as someone who started supporting the club in the entertainers era, would be 1997, Kevin Keegan resigning. But I guess a modern day, something that still is quite raw for me, I'd say, is when we couldn't extend Rafa's contract. And I think it was just everything that was involved in that. You know, it was like a public spat, and there was allegations of, you know, he demanded too much money and this, that, and the other. And when it all became clear what had actually happened, it kind of hurt me to think that Rafa wanted the best for our club and the long-term investments and the aims, and, you know, like investing money into the academy and whatnot. And if we couldn't fulfill that, and if we couldn't agree, I say we, I mean, if Mike Ashley couldn't agree to that and fulfill those simple wishes, it is just such a shame. And I can't explain how I felt when that news came. And then when we had the news of Steve Bruce, I think I was just in a state of shock. I think I was just like, this can't be happening. Surely not. Like, it sort of felt like we were being relegated. It felt like we can't possibly take such a huge step back. Like, Rafa, world class. Yes, we had issues and it wasn't smooth sailing, you know, but I think that January, you know, getting Miggy and then being able to play a bit more attacking style. And I just thought I just thought it was more positive than it was. I didn't realize the politics involved until the news really broke out that no, his contract will not be extended and this is going on and he's being accused of this. And then it was horrible because I felt for him, you know, but I am a fan of Rafa, and it's just a shame. It's actually really sad. It's still very sad, and evidently so. We couldn't find someone to replace him. We couldn't, you know, no one can really fill his boots, but we could have tried harder, I think, to replace him. The shock involved with that memory is still quite raw, so maybe I'll go for that as my worst moment. What about you guys?
Mine's relegations.
First time we were relegated, definitely.
Both of them. I only just started YouTube when we first got relegated, and having to do that video and come on an hour after full time was tough. Like, it was really, really tough.
Yeah.
Struggling to hold it in, keep it together. And actually, in credit to Sunderland fans, because I thought, oh, they're going to jump on the video, they're going to make you take a couple of them. A few of them were in the comments saying, do you know what? Yeah, he's a Geordie, but his heart's in the right place. So that was nice. A little bit of bittersweet. But the Rafa one, I remember the Rafa one vividly because I was at work, came out, done a video. Then he cried me eyes out again. But I think with Rafa, it was emotional detachment, wasn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carl, what was yours?
Mine was the first relegation as well.
Villa, there we go.
Yeah. Well, that didn't help. That didn't help at all. Next one, protest, stay away, or go and support the team, Eisha.
Protest and stay away. Oh, in terms of like being in the stadium, like attending games or not?
Yeah.
Tough one, this one.
Yeah, it is a tough one. But I would say to support the team. I mean, it's hard to say now because we haven't had fans in the stadium for a year. Therefore, if we are allowed any fans in the stadium, we better go in there and freaking put the pressure on, because I don't think that has worked in our favour. I mean, it clearly hasn't. And for that reason alone, we need to be back in there screaming something, or even, showing support, the positive side of it. There are players that thrive on that and absorb that sort of atmosphere, and, especially the younger ones, or particularly the ones who have confidence issues, Joe Linton, for example. I mean, I can't wait for the fans to get back in, and I would encourage people to get back in the stadiums despite all the political noise around, protesting or going to games. Do you guys feel the same?
Yeah, I support the team first.
Yeah, they need it more than anything.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Next one, pick your NUFC five-a-side team.
It's a good one, this one.
Yeah, this is good. What, so current day?
Anyone you like.
Anyone.
Oh, like Dream Team, just over. Oh, okay, cool. Well, Shay Given in goal.
Yes.
Okay. And 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, we need Alan Shearer and we need Ginola. I mean, this is going to be this is going to be biased to the 90s.
That's all right.
That's okay, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, you know what? Actually, I think, or maybe I should mix in. Should I mix in some new players? I mean, I should, right?
If you want to, wait.
Well, I've already chosen 3 now, and I'm like, oh, bloody hell, this is actually quite hard.
It is quite tough. Carl, I want you thinking of yours as well. Well said.
Yeah.
I know mine. I'll tell everybody mine, because I said this last week. It's Shay Given in goal. I'm not having no defenders because you don't need them in five-a-side. I'm going for Alan Saint-Maximin, Hatton Ben Arthur.
Oh.
I went for Alan Shearer, and who was my 5th one? Shay Given was my goalkeeper. I had a 5th one. It was either Lawala or Solana. It was one of the two.
Oh, okay. What? So you didn't go for Les Ferdinand?
No.
Your true
I need goals. I need skills and goals.
You know what? I want a Cisse on that Chelsea. I want a Cisse goal from that Chelsea game. That's what I want in my five-a-side. Okay, right. So I've already committed to Shay Given and Alan Shearer and Les Ferdinand. So you know what? Maybe I'll follow your style. We don't need defenders if we've got so many attackers. Let's go crazy. So I'm going to go with Ginola, and I'm sorry, but I have to because I love him.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he could bring all the tricks and the flair. Les Ferdinand and Alan Shearer, they can link up and get the goals. And then so that's 3, 4. So
actually, I said Robert last week. Actually, just reminded me.
Okay. Okay. I can see where you went for him.
You just shoot get the goalkeeper and just roll it out to him. Go on, shoot.
You know what? I'm going to go for Rob Lee. A servant to the club, trusty anchor. I'm going for Rob Lee. So Shay Given, Rob Lee, Ginola, Les Ferdinand, and Alan Shearer. There are my 5.
Go on, Colin.
I'll go with Given in goal as well. And then I'll go Beardsley, Gaza.
I think it's beating me, yeah.
I'll put Shearer up top, but then I'm going to throw David Batty in there as well because you need someone to snap someone in five-a-side. You need.
Okay.
David Batty's the one for me. Given,
4,
Batty, Shearer, Beardsley, and Gaza. Is that 5?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 5. Nice, love it. A bit of a maverick choice there. Like it.
Yeah, I want Maximin in there, but I couldn't fit him in.
I know,
Couldn't squeeze
I
him
want
in.
him too.
Rolling sub. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, he can sit on
definitely.
the bench.
Keegan or Robson?
Keegan.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
yeah, I mean, obviously both of them are absolute legends, but
No, it's
for
just
me,
how quickly you answered that.
Like,
That was
I
bang.
know it's just, yeah, it's just I can't explain how much that the entertainers era means to me as a fan, and also how much I feel I know him on a personal level, even though I've never met Kevin Keegan. And even if I met him, I wouldn't know how to behave because I would be so starstruck. But I think maybe from his book and just from media and just how he wears his heart on his sleeve, I feel like he's my uncle. I feel like I understand his, thought process behind everything. I understand how transparent he's been and why, he had special bonds with certain people and how it benefited the club. And for that reason, I go for him without a hesitation.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. Next one. Not as easy, I don't think. Bruce or McLaren?
Oh, yeah, that's tough. I mean, how I'm feeling this week, I'd honestly go for McLaren because I honestly don't know. I don't know if it's against his contract or what, but I don't know why Steve Bruce hasn't stepped down yet. I genuinely don't know why it hasn't reached the point where he has held his hands up and said, I've done what I can. We are heading south and I'm not capable of keeping us afloat, because surely he would know deep down that he's just his technical and tactical abilities don't stretch to that, and the consequences of that is his boyhood club. For the betterment of his club, I'm honestly flabbergasted as to why he hasn't voluntarily stepped down himself, and I think I feel a lot of resentment towards him because of that. Therefore, I couldn't possibly choose him. What about you guys?
Do you feel like his arrogance precedes him when it comes to stepping down from the club?
I don't know, because at face value, he doesn't come across as an arrogant person. But then at times, I think there's a combination of two things here. When he's faced with media, he can be defensive. We've seen that more recently. But then part of me thinks half of this is excuses and half of this is denial. And if it is denial, I mean, we can't question that, because I don't know what planet he's living on sometimes with the stuff he says. And if he genuinely believes that, wow, he's in his own bubble. But then at the same time, if it is just his way of, a defense mechanism and just deflecting blame or making up excuses, then it's not right. And honestly, I really struggle to pick apart how he is as a person and his sincerity, because I used to think, you know what, he's a simple guy, and the way he faces media, the way he interacts and engages with journalists, he is honest and he is slightly optimistic at times, and not really acknowledging and addressing problems. That's not his forte. But I've come to realize in recent weeks that actually it could just be him being defensive. The criticism has been piling up. He is there trying to fight his corner, and in the process of that, it's coming off as arrogant. But yeah, it is a tough one. What do you think?
It's like going to a care home to see your two uncles with dementia. That's how I describe the two of them. They say something which is ridiculous and then totally contradict themselves the week later.
Yeah.
There's no belief from fans for what he says. So whether it's true or not, the next time Bruce speaks, I don't know whether to believe it or not, because what he said in the past.
Yeah, because he a couple of weeks ago, he was referring to what Pep Guardiola had said about, can't remember what it was, but he made a statement that it's not about performances, it's about points or something. And then he sort of flipped it this week and he said it is about performances. No, I can't remember. But yeah, he totally contradicted what he had said a couple of weeks prior, which made me think, yeah, okay, you know what? He is in defensive mode. So we got to take what he says with a pinch of salt, and we have to, I guess, accept the fact that he's not going to acknowledge exactly what's on all of our minds as fans right now. He's steering clear of that sort of what's it called? Accountability, you know?
Yeah.
Which is really frustrating. It actually angers me quite a bit because we deserve an acknowledgement. We deserve a moment of, you know what? We need an overhaul. Oh my God, this is not working. I'm sorry, but we are working to figure it out. And because we haven't had that, it is, I guess the anger is building up there, because if he held his hands up and said he's not capable of managing the team in a way that we deserve, or in a way where we can progress, we could accept, okay, you know what, he has some awareness for his capabilities, his managerial capabilities, but because it hasn't reached that level yet, it is really frustrating.
I don't think he'll say that because he knows he'll be out of a job, won't he? The moment he says that, he's gone. Yeah,
exactly. That's the thing, because you're pretty much saying, you know what, I'm not qualified for this job. I'm effectively not the right person for the job, and that pretty much means I need replacing. And if he publicly declares that, then Mike Ashley won't be happy, I'm sure.
Definitely. Shay Given, Tim Krul, or Martin Dubravka?
That's really tough, actually. I mean, I would say Shay Given. I'll say that now, just because I do have a thing for, the legends of the game. And Martin Dubravka, I think he's still got a lot more in him. And recently, I'd say that I think, obviously, we know that Guardiola stepped up in his absence and done a brilliant job, but I was itching to get Martin Dubravka back when I knew he was fit, just because I knew as soon as he's back, and I think he was back in the Arsenal game, and it was like he had never left. And it's like he's so comfortable and he fits into our system. He shouts at the players and he brings all these qualities, and I don't ever want to let him go. He's just incredibly valuable to us. And like I said, I love what Carl Darlow did, and the amount of shots that he saved at the start of the season, oh my word, it was ridiculous. But Martin Dubravka, I mean, he's just trusty. It's like an old pair of jeans, you put them on and you're like, I can't do any wrong with these. They're going to fit, they're perfect, and you're comfortable and you just get going. So despite that, I'd say Shay Given, just because, and also, it's just these players have a special place in my heart, and I can't really look past that when I'm choosing them. I have to go for them.
I think it's a no-brainer, Shay Given. No-brainer. I agree. Shay Given is, although those two other goalkeepers have been probably second and third best, I think Shay Given's way in front. There's not a close second for me. He's way in front.
Yeah, and 1 second.
Oh,
Carl, who's yours?
It was Shay Given, mate, definitely.
Have you guys read this? It's so good.
No,
it's on our Amazon store, actually. But I haven't read it. I haven't read it personally. No,
I need to.
It's really good. My dad gave it to me. Yeah, I love it. Look at my dad's handwriting. It's like a different language. Like what?
Tell me he's got kids writing.
He has, hasn't he? I was like, I need Google Translate for that. What language is that in? But
Brilliant.
Shay Given, ledge, love him.
Next one's quite interesting, to be fair. Andy Carroll, Mitrovic, or Daryl Murphy. When did you put that one on, Lee? Did you do that last week?
I put that on today. I thought, what, we'll mix it up a little bit. 3 target men. Who are you picking?
This is an interesting one, actually. The thing is with Andy Carroll, and I don't think this is a good thing, but for me, when it gets to a point where a player shouldn't be playing for us anymore, which is what I feel with Andy Carroll, I'm sort of left with a sour taste in my mouth about them, because when he was on a pay-per-play package last season, I didn't mind. I thought, okay, here's an option and we're not wasting money. But because now he is on a salary, and honestly, I think he's past it. I don't think he's a valuable asset for us. He's not really a backup striker, in my opinion. He comes on in the dying minutes of a game, and his fitness, of course, there's a huge question mark over keeping his fitness. I would have said him maybe a few years ago, just the sentimental value was there, but right now how I'm feeling, and I think maybe it's just the current situation, like I can't really go for him. Honestly, Mitrovic for me, I think it was a case of wrong timing or wrong system or something, because what he went on to achieve at Fulham, no, wait, well, he went straight to Fulham, right? And then wasn't he the highest goal scorer in the Championship or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, they found a way to work him into their system. Why didn't we do that? Why? Because so I'd say Mitrovic just because of that, and because of sometimes it's a case of having the right manager to look at a player and understand them. And, like you guys know, I'm not an experienced football coach, but I'm starting to understand these things where it's like, you know what, let me watch a player, let me observe them, let me try things out. And I don't think we gave him enough chances with that. And I don't think he got the game time to demonstrate how he can fit in. And, Fulham, they reaped the benefits of his potential, and he was a prolific goal scorer. So, yeah, Mitrovic I'll go with. What about you guys?
If it was peak all three, I'll go Carroll. If it was peak all three of them. I think Andy Carroll's had the better peak of Murphy. I think Murphy was all right in the Championship. Could he cut it in the Premier League? I have massive doubts about that.
Yeah.
Mitrovic probably wasn't given a shot, and look at him now with Fulham.
Yeah.
But if it's Andy Carroll, I'll take Carroll, because when he broke through that first 2-3 years before he got his move to Liverpool, England internationally, I'll take Carroll. If
or
it was
like
peak.
2010 Villa 6-0 Andy Carroll hat-trick.
No, that's sweet music to call. He has that.
It is, and that is why I would pick a big Andy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Mitrovic. I absolutely loved him. Loved that. I love Mitrovic. I loved his attitude. He could be lazy at times, but I love the fact that he was a bit of a raj. To be fair, he's my kind of player.
When he lift him off the ground.
I love stuff like that. Absolutely love the passion. But I agree. Andy Carroll was a bit like that when he was breaking through as well. So that added to that, definitely.
So, Carl, I'll take over for a little bit for you.
Yeah.
Some quick fire ones for you, Eisha. Crisps or chocolate? I know this is difficult for you because obviously being vegan, but what are you picking?
To be fair, like in my house, we have loads of vegan options for everything. And the vegan chocolate in my house, my sister has like a vegan catering business. So I'm the guinea pig and she's constantly feeding me like, try this, try that, try that. So I'd have to say chocolate, because there's actually a lot out there now for vegans. Like Galaxy do vegan chocolate now. So I'd say chocolate.
Good choice. I'd have both. What's your favourite TV program?
Oh, that's a really good one.
Past or present? So if what you're watching now, that's good. Recommend something to me.
You know what? I don't really watch Netflix at all. I don't really watch shows.
I'll tell you what I'm watching, and actually Line of Duty. First time I've came across that one to the 4th season. Good drama.
Is it good?
Season, corrupt. Yeah, a lot of, shall we say, corrupt officers. So that's what I'm currently watching at the moment.
Oh, okay. I did like Game of Thrones. I don't like how it ended. But I'd say, I guess Game of Thrones is the most recent, like, proper series that I got into. Otherwise, I just really like watching, like, documentaries and that, and, like, short, like, videos on, like, like sports personalities on their lives or whatever. But, yeah, I'd say Game of Thrones. And back in the day, do you know what? Back in the day, I used to love The Bill. I thought it was the best thing ever. I'd watch it all the time.
Line of Duty, then? Get watching the Line of Duty. Watch it.
Yeah.
Honestly. It's like a bit more what I'm going for, a bit more grittier than The Bill.
Oh, okay.
A lot of backstabbing going on, so it's good. Like, so The Bill, I used to remember that. I used to be on twice a week, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was really good.
What's your favorite movie?
I have two. One of them is Inglourious Bastards. I don't know if you guys watched that, and the second one is The Last King of Scotland. And so good. Like, both these options are very dark and very deep and very sinister. But to be honest, I quite like that. I dig that kind of vibe, so that fits with me well. I like thrillers and horrors. I like anything Stephen King, like Doctor Sleep. I really enjoyed that. But if it's like my all-time favorite movies, it would have to be those two. Yeah.
Can you watch It the Clown?
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. I watched. There's like the third one came out like recently, like last year, I think it was. Yeah, I love that. Because I used to read those books when I was younger. I love that. Because, yeah, Doctor Sleep is based on The Shining, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah.
so good. Yeah, I love stuff like that.
Favorite singer or band?
My favorite band is Vampire Weekend. So they're like indie rock band from America. And I got to watch them live, actually, like not obviously last year, but the year before. And, yeah, they're definitely my favorite band of all time.
Now, I don't know loads about music. What are they similar to?
I mean,
music?
it's indie rock, so I guess the Kooks, I guess, or it's
they're
not
pretty
really
similar to Cooks, yeah.
right? Yeah,
that's sort of
like
ilk.
music.
I love
yeah, you're
music,
really into music, aren't you? Do you like Vampire Weekend?
Yeah, I literally I love everyone, but yeah, Oasis are mine, or Stone Roses, but yeah, I do like anyone of that sort of Vampire Weekend, Kooks era. Come across a couple of bands today, one called the Raytons and one called the K's. Very unheard of bands, fucking brilliant, absolutely
Really?
brilliant. Yeah, you'll love them.
You should be a music scout. You should be out there, like you should be their agent.
Can you imagine? Yeah, highly recommend.
Start his own YouTube off.
Yeah.
Speaking of YouTube, what keeps you busy outside of appearing on videos?
Oh, I guess football coaching when grassroots football is allowed, which is actually, we're allowed to play grassroots football at the end of the month. Oh, wow, that was quick. Yeah.
I knew that answer was coming.
Did you? Yeah, I'm really excited. Actually, today I was planning my training sessions because obviously we have a lot of restrictions and I really have to think long and hard about how I'm going to hold these sessions at the end of the month and just make sure the kids are safe. So yeah, coaching, I guess modeling when it's safe to do so. And I just like being outdoors, to be honest. Like I'm happiest when I'm outdoors. So outdoors exploring, or I really like rock climbing and I like hiking and trekking. I like going to the Cotswolds and watching documentaries and reading, really.
Interesting, you've just mentioned modelling. Has lockdown affected your modelling?
It has. The jobs I've got are, I mean, they're definitely, the jobs are few and far between because the jobs I have had, like there are so many precautions and COVID tests, and I can see how costly it is to even, have a set. Oh, there's me. Yeah. So a lot of my shoots have been outdoor shoots, but again, I mean, it's nothing like it was before lockdown. I guess, when you're modeling, you need a makeup artist, you need a stylist, the photographer, and you're in a studio all day and you're trying clothes on, and it's just not a safe environment to be in at the moment. And especially with stuff like TV commercials, because these aren't like quick shoots, it takes a good few hours and there's many people on set. And it depends what brands are willing to invest in, all the COVID measures to ensure that everyone's safe. And at the same time, I don't really feel that safe because I live with my family. I can't really be taking chances. So, it's kind of taken a back seat, but I have taken the safe jobs here and there where I can, particularly the outdoor shoots. But yeah, I
think lockdowns, fingers crossed, touch wood. We all get with jabs very, very shortly, and then we can start, hopefully we'll have a dinner and start getting back to normal life. Speaking of lockdown, that's kind of the theme that we're staying with. Has lockdown helped you push more of your own YouTube videos? It's giving you more time?
It definitely has. And I think the thing is, like with you guys, obviously I was doing YouTube stuff with you guys and it's so fun. And we were like constantly out and about, and it was so brilliant and it was so great. And I always thought like, I should probably focus on my YouTube at some point. But I guess lockdown forced that because I didn't really have an excuse. I already have the equipment. Have to be inside a lot. And so, it definitely did help. And as it happens, like I do enjoy editing and expressing myself creatively. So, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would, and it's going to be interesting, like outside lockdown life, to see how I stick to commitments, because with me, like, I never really want to do things with half measures, and I think that's why before lockdown I never really thought too much about YouTube, because I just thought, if you're not going to commit to it and do it wholeheartedly, don't start, because you know you're investing a lot of time, and then if you suddenly stop, you're going to regret it. So yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, actually. But if lockdown hadn't have happened, I'm not sure if I would have invested so much time into content creation. No.
I think that's the thing. You've got to enjoy it first to do
You
it.
have to, right?
You've got to enjoy it. And we've seen there's loads of Newcastle YouTubers out nowadays, big or small. I think there's got to be at least 15 to 20 now uploading on a regular basis. I hope that we do have people continue to do that outside of lockdown as well, because it's great for Newcastle United to have so many people online firing, talking about their opinions, because that's what we all do as fans. We're all opinionated and we all have a say, and hopefully everyone sticks to it and continues it after lockdown. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Next
one. What does your family think of you making online videos?
They love it, particularly my dad, because what I've been doing on my channel mostly, I guess what I've been really sticking to is, like, for example, my weekly Newcastle update, which is just a weekly update. And for my dad, he's like, yep, it's concise, it's informative, I know where I'm at with Newcastle United, because I feel like there's so much information. It's a good thing, but there's so much information about our club which we're consuming, you know, on the Chronicle Live or whatever. There's constant stories and updates, particularly with stuff like the takeover. And my dad in particular, he's probably my number one fan, and he's like, he loves watching it, he loves getting up to date, and yeah, my family like it. I just have to tell them, you know, like, at strange times of the day, I'm like, I put it in the WhatsApp group, I'm like, nobody breathe at 1 p.m. because I am recording a video. They're like, okay. And my sister, like I said, she has a vegan catering business, right? She's always in the kitchen. She's got the blender on. She's got, you know, she's clunking around all the pots and pans. And I'm like, oh my God, you need to stop, because I'm trying to film something. So they got used to it. But yeah.
Get your dad on, Michael. Get him on.
I should. Yeah.
Calling him out. Get on Eisha's channel.
I don't know if anyone would understand him.
Was he like fully Irish?
Yeah. And I think I'd have to add subtitles.
Oh, we've got a couple of Irish lads who come on. Dylan from the Fan Reaction, and he's fully Irish. He'll be fine, man. Get him on.
Yeah.
Just sorry, Lee. We'll just say thank you to Jolin, because he's given us a bit of banter in the chat. So
I see.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Thank you for your donation as well. 3 questions in one for you, Eisha. What's the short, medium, and long term for Eisha Acton with modelling and making online videos?
Ooh, okay. So for modelling, to be honest, I think because I've been modelling since I was a child. I think I started modelling when I was 7 years old. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I know how to do it. If I can make money from it and enjoy it, I'll do it. But it's not really like a main sort of focus of my career, because I mean, I would say that I have a shelf life, but to be honest, like nowadays with the advertising industry, they're very inclusive. So, you know, they want people who are of all different ages, and they're not just like runway models. So I could continue it probably for the rest of my life, maybe, but it's not really something that I'm prioritizing number one. You know, I'm more, obviously, I love talking about sports, and I love creating videos, and like you guys know, I have a background in presenting as it is, so those kind of things for sure I'll prioritize. And the short-term goals for that is just making it out of lockdown and trying to like stabilize myself in the industry, because as you guys know, I've not really worked much in the UK. Most of my work has been in Asia, and just to like find my feet here with that and figure out what I want to do with that, because there's just so many things to do. Like, as you lot know, you know, hosting podcasts or presenting or reporting at football matches or creating content or doing radio or writing about football or whatever it is, anything to do with sports and media, I'm interested in, and I'm interested in exploring. So I guess to answer your question, I'm not sure, but in a way I'm not really worried, because I know I love talking about sports, and I'm really comfortable in front of a camera. So wherever I'm going to fit in, and if I have a good manager to pitch me for stuff, then I'll just be happy. So I guess that's my answer.
That's really happy. Carl, I'll let you fire up with the last 5 or 6 questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I was just got sidetracked by another comment from that Joe Linton lad that made me laugh. I don't know if you saw it, to be fair. Yes, you have 2 channels, Eisha. Why?
Yeah, so one of them is more for like charitable videos and fundraising. So one of them, I actually have a series on there, which I'm still editing and I need to upload. There's a series I basically produced where I went on a road trip for, over India, and I went with my friends who are filmmakers, and we filmed at a number of charities. I interviewed the owners and I asked them how funding would help them grow, and we sort of made it into like a documentary series. Like, it has travel in there and it has charity in there, but it's more to encourage funding for Indian charities. So that's one of the channels that I have. And then the second channel is purely sports, it's just football and Indian cricket. So that's why I have 2, because I didn't want to keep one and have it really broad and vague.
Yeah.
So that's why there's 2.
Fair enough.
I think along with us, I think you're the only other person who uploads from, in terms of Newcastle content, who has that second channel, which is surprised me, because we've got obviously the main one, excuse me, an NFTV extra, and that's where we put our probably stuff that people aren't too bothered about, like the under 23s, women's news, football manager, non-league vlogs, some of the Greenwood Mulliner show. Our show was on this last week, so we try and keep that separate from the main talking points. I can understand why you have a second channel, because if you're talking about Newcastle United constantly, and then there's an upload from your time in India, people are going to be like, well, why is that there? Is that your thinking behind it?
Exactly, yeah. And I remember speaking to someone who was like really established on YouTube, and he was like, it's not going to be good for the algorithm to have like some people really interested in Newcastle and then some people interested in just like helping Indian charities. It's not even the same industry. So he was like, you must keep them separate and just focus. And it's worked so far. I'm glad I did that, actually, because to be honest, when I go on channels and I think I just want to have like a clear sort of vision of what kind of content I'm about to consume. I don't want it too broad. And that's I guess as a YouTube user, that's the kind of experience I want to give, where it's very niche, in that sense. So
So that brings us nicely on to the next question. You look at particular YouTube channels and what you're going to kind of consume. Have you got any that you'd recommend to anyone that you watch?
Well, there's a really good one called Newcastle Fans TV. Don't know if you've heard of it. They are smashing it. They're almost on 25.
They're a good bunch of lads.
Followers. Yeah, you should follow them. I follow James Alcott. Have you guys heard of him? James I love his content. It's so it's clean, and I mean the quality of it and everything alone is really, really good. And I like his style of presenting content, just because he's quite colloquial, he's quite chatty, he's personable. So I follow his channel, and I like
very friendly, isn't he? Approachable.
Exactly. Like, you're watching him and you're like, this is just like a mate talking about, a particular topic. And that's what I like on YouTube. I don't like too much maybe it's a British thing, like, we don't really like rigid, formal, someone talking at you. We want someone, we want to watch someone, we want it to feel like it's a discussion. I quite like his channel. What other channels do I like? I mean, I follow
any non-football stuff or anything like left field?
So I follow this channel called the Zach and Jay Show. Do you guys know it?
No.
Tell us more.
Oh my god, it's so good. These boys are like pranksters, and they sneak into like all these events, like, the BAFTAs and concerts, and one of them snuck into like the Conor McGregor fight. They basically make fake passes and they fool everyone, and they film it all, they vlog it all. It's so good. And then they go to like random things like have you heard in Gloucester they do this cheese chasing like it's like a competition. It's like a
Oh,
race.
is this down the hill?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. A woman's got like a woman's won it. Like she jumps herself and she's broken out like back or something or leg or something. I've seen this.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Carl, you have to see it. It's insane.
Oh, wow.
Like it's so dangerous. So for example, they recently, well not recently, last year, whatever, they went to that and they both took part in it and they vlogged the whole thing on the GoPro and everything. So they're really, really, really funny. And you know what? They're really good at editing and just like the final product is insane. Like the voiceover, the quality, the different angles, the editing, everything is so spot on. And they blew up recently, and they deserve it. You can tell like a lot of money goes into their videos in a way, I guess. So yeah, I really like their channel. You should check out.
Definitely will do. What frustrates you about YouTube?
I guess it doesn't frustrate me because I know that like starting a channel this year, you're years, if not a decade behind everyone else. Yeah. And I guess it's just knowing that when one video picks up or goes viral or whatever, you're okay, you know, the followers will come. But until that moment, you just can't expect too much. You can't expect a lot of views. You can't expect a lot of comments. Sometimes some videos do better than others. And I guess in a way that is frustrating. But when you I guess when you have the mindset of in the long run, you know, 7 months down the line, this one random video that I shot like a few months ago might blow up or might do really well or might do the rounds on the old algorithm. Who knows what the hell the algorithm is, but somehow if I get lucky and it, you know, it does well, the subscribers will come. I'll have a huge audience and I'll have regular like high stats with the views and engagements. But until that moment, you keep slogging and you have to stay consistent.
That's the key, consistency.
Exactly. Definitely. You guys know more than me about
that. Will your channel always be a solo one, or would you look to expand with other people?
I would I wouldn't expand in the sense on a permanent basis. I mean, I'd have guests on and I'd do like what I've done when I started it. I just had like a different Newcastle like content creator on every week, like you know, like what we did. I'd do that, but on a long-term basis, no, it would always be me.
Fair enough. Is that just to kind of keep it within? Yeah.
If my dad, if my dad's here, I mean, I might consider him to be, you know, a mainstay.
Have you ever seen Thogden?
Yeah,
he's got his dad on. Thog Dad, hasn't he?
Yeah, the dad. Yeah, that's true. They got a great dynamic. Yeah, I like their content as well. Yeah.
I think there's only one more final question, isn't there, Carl?
If it's going back up, yes. What have you learned whilst being on YouTube?
That's a good one. I guess I've learned that this sounds like a really simple thing, but I guess I didn't realize it until it happened to me. Like I learned that your reach, you can't underestimate your reach. Like sometimes, like I said, I don't get that many views or I haven't got, you know, loads of subscribers. But when I do get the odd comment from some random person in a random country, I'm just like, how on earth did you find my video?
Yeah.
So I think that's what I've learned most of. Just whatever you're making, whatever you're putting out there, anyone in the world can, you know, consume your content and engage with you. And don't underestimate that ever, because, you know, anything to do with technology and the digital world these days, you have an enormous reach. And there are people around the world who are interested in this niche little topic. And if they come across you and they reach out to you, don't be surprised because, it's the digital world.
Definitely. Eisha, let us know what you've got coming up on the channel. You got much going on either channel right now, or anything in the pipeline?
Yeah, to be honest, I'll just keep with my usual stuff. So on the Newcastle, like for the Newcastle stuff on that channel, it will just be in the form of like a weekly update. I'll probably upload one tomorrow actually. And I like doing these like 10 questions with, so I'll probably get some more guests on for that. Like I had Warren Barton on, I had John Gibson, Gavin Peacock, John Gibson. Oh my God, that was such a good interview.
Yeah, he can talk.
Oh my God, he's so interesting. So I'd love to get more personalities like that on, you know, former players and then people heavily involved in the club. Like, obviously, John Gibson is just a legend of Northeast journalism. And I'd like to get, I guess those people who are sort of a bit more behind the scenes and former players. Yeah. So yeah, I'll be producing that kind of content, I guess.
Perfect. And are you still active on Twitter? Because I think you were taking a little bit of a sabbatical, if I'm right.
Yeah. So I gave up. So for Lent, I gave up social media. So I have been going on to check my DMs like once a day for work, and I've been enjoying it so much. I can't even explain how much I've been enjoying the break. And today I thought I'll tweet about this because I thought some people want to come on, and I'm glad I did. But to be honest, I'm still deciding. I mean, I really have enjoyed the time off. Yeah.
Twitter's quite a sore subject with Newcastle Fans TV because we're still fighting.
Yeah, I went.
It's driving us mad. They hit us with a Callum Wilson gif for copyright, which was already in Twitter's database. So we still haven't heard nothing back. So that's the update, everybody. 5 weeks later, still nothing. So it's killing us.
Crazy. Yeah, I went to tag you today in the post and I saw that. I was like, surely not.
Still, but we're using NFTV Extra at the moment, which it's a sore subject for me and Sam. Very sore. All we can do is sit and wait for Twitter.
Yeah, you have to do that. God,
definitely.
That's frustrating.
Coming back to yourself, Lee, what have we got upcoming on the channels? Both channels?
We have, first of all, thank you very much, Eisha, for coming on as ever. Also, if you want one of us to jump on your channel, ask me. Ask Carl, by all means, ask one of us lot. Because these have been Carl, Liam, have been on loads of channels the last few days. I'm struggling to keep up. And we have what we've got the preview tomorrow. I've got a night off.
Yes.
No YouTube for me tomorrow night because I've been battering both channels, and then Friday we've got all the carry on with Villa. So for mine, Carl's and Sam's sake, because we will get stick if we don't get a result on Friday night. Let's hope.
God.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
No,
but I did see today, I was trying to analyse the Villa training pictures. So Jack Grealish was not there. And then a couple of their players are injured. So I saw Traore, I think, is injured. And what's his name?
El Ghazi.
Yeah, he's been good this season. It's been good this season.
I believe he has an infected toe. So he's a doubt. Yeah.
Random.
No, I did actually see that today. And I thought, okay, you know what? I mean, I'm clutching at straws here for positives, but if Jack Grealish certainly isn't back and these two players aren't playing, Ollie Watkins as well. Ollie Watkins is a doubt, I think.
Let's hope they all are, because Emil Kraft's going to have to go up against Jack Grealish.
Oh, God.
Which, we'll all be hiding behind the sofa on that one, I think, or even if it's Man Q. But I think that is a wrap, everybody. Thank you very much once again, Eisha, for coming on. This has been our episode 4 of the influencer, which nobody likes getting called. Bring on online personalities to have a chat about Newcastle, their own career aspirations, and some fun, quick questions. So you enjoyed it, Eisha?
Yeah, it's been so much fun. It's so good to be chatting with you guys again.
Fantastic, Carl. No doubt I shall see you tomorrow, whatever the result is. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy your night.